Alright, I'm getting ready to show you guys how I tone alder sandstone. Now we don't tone alder ever, just for this color. The process here is, every time I tone, I don't ever mess with my pump. It's always set 40 and 20, 40 for the air, 20 for the fluid. We have on the back of the gun here, we have little lines, and the way I set it up is if I'm doing a toner that's thicker, I'll turn it about one whole turn. If I'm doing like a maple toner, then I usually start with like a quarter turn. So I sprayed out. So I'm going to show you guys how to properly spray, distance from the piece that you're spraying, and the correct speed that I spray the Sandstone Toner. Hey, Beck. So hold this for me. You have to turn the recording. Anytime I do this alder sandstone, I always go cut a sample block so I can test the color first, because it's kind of a tedious species. Alder is really soft wood, so all the material soaks right into it. So since we have to tone this alder, we had to modify the toner. So instead of it being reduced, it's straight colorant, so it's thicker. So that's why I turn my gun up more than a quarter at a time when I'm setting up sandstone toner. We always try to do 2 passes every time we tone, no matter what it is. Alder, maple, whatever we're toning. So I'm going to show you guys how quick and how close to the part that I spray the sandstone toner. Back my gun here. Every time I start, I always start with them fully closed. The fan, I always open the fan all the way up. All the way up, and I crank her back about a turn. That's just the way I've always done it. Since this is sandstone on alder, and the toner's real thick, I'm going to open this up a whole turn. Always test my pattern. It's pretty good. Not what we're looking for. It's not streaky, it's not got no tail, so I always test my pattern on a piece of cardboard before I spray my part. I always 60% overlap every piece that I do. Okay, like I said, we do 2 passes. I'll air dry it a little bit. I'll come back over it. Okay, now that I got my tone block, I'm going to tape it off. Check it with my door. Looks pretty close. A lot of times these doors will get a little old and we need to replace them. Some toners are different. Some toners, 2-3 years, they look the same. The door doesn't fade. Some toners it'll fade in a month, 2 months, 3 months. Just depends on the toner. Anyway, so I taped it off, and now we're going to stain it. Every time I do this, I take our cup guns and I set it up with a little bit of the stain for the job, so that I can test the color before I pass it on to the staining process. Alright, now I just stained this piece and it matches up pretty good. So, and I got my gun set at where I want it. I'm going to start staining the whole job. What I will do is I will do the backs of all the doors. When I get done with the rack, I'll take the first door that I did, I'll stain it with the stain in that cup gun right there. Right here, sorry. And I'll test the color. I'll test it again to make sure if I don't need to make any adjustments to my fluid. And that is how I stain alder sandstone.